Visítame, bo korzystacie.
A skier was making his way down the slope when he suddenly noticed something unusual.
You better watch out, you better not die, you better not crash, I'm telling you why, 'cause you told your wife you're at work.
From a distance, a dark shape appeared to be partially hidden behind a tree. Its form was difficult to make out clearly. Unfortunately, the footage cuts off at that exact moment, leaving whatever may have followed entirely unknown. A hunter positioned a trail camera far inside the Canadian backcountry, hoping to record normal wildlife on video. Instead, the footage revealed something completely unexpected. From the brush, a huge figure steps forward. Its overwhelming size impossible to miss. The figure seems distressed, breaking branches and throwing them aside before disappearing back into the forest. Some claim this might simply be a costumed person, while others point to the figure's proportions and physical strength. Viewers estimate it stood nearly 7 feet tall, with a frame broader than any average human. So what is your view? A staged trick or evidence of Bigfoot captured on camera? On June 8, 2018, Danny and his wife went on a hike through a nearby park, recording the surroundings on video.
Did you hear that? What was it? What was that?
At first, everything appeared completely normal at the time. However, when they later checked the footage, something unusual drew their attention. A dark figure seemed to be looking out from behind a tree. The shape appeared bulky, with a form that looked human-like. Some have suggested it may have been a bear, but bears are seldom seen in that area. So, could this be something else entirely? Scott Carpenter returned to a secluded section of forest to continue his Bigfoot research. He revisited a stick structure he had assembled during a previous visit, only to discover it had been disturbed.
Yeah, they're getting a little loud. I balanced a stick right here, and I actually put it underneath there, and I'll have to go back and kind of show it on the previous video. But I stuck the stick in there and balanced it, and the balance stick has been pulled out. It's laying on the ground and it's been snapped in two. See where it's been snapped? I don't know where the other half is. There's the lower half. And I've wedged it in there, so I don't think the wind blew it out or snapped it in two.
A single balancing stick that had once been secured in place was now on the ground, broken cleanly in half. One section rested nearby while the other was nowhere to be found. Scott examined the break and noted it didn't resemble damage caused by wind or natural decay. He referenced similar incidents from other investigations, where structures appeared intentionally altered or taken apart. As he traveled farther into the woods, soft rustling sounds and occasional branch snaps carried through the trees. The surroundings felt tense, as if something unseen was nearby. Then, without warning,
I saw movement. Something darted behind this tree, or darted in this area. Scared the crap out of me. Black, large. It looked like I saw his trailing arm. See, or his butt. Of course, there won't be anything here. No sign, no footprints.
he noticed movement. Something slipped behind a tree and disappeared into the thick undergrowth. From a distance, It looked dark and sizable, briefly revealing what appeared to be an arm swing or the outline of a back end before vanishing between the trunks. He moved quickly toward the area, but initially found nothing obvious.
Alright, it's possible footfall right there. See that? There we go. See, look, this is just barely, you can just barely tell it. There it is. Okay, there we go. I'm not a total buffoon. There's a footprint right here. I'll have to dissect it for you because you can barely see it, but I'll show it to you. Alright. Right up here is the toes. Right there's the heel mark. That's a big old boy too. Shit. I need a partner. Anyway, excuse the French. Right here's the toes. You see where the earth is disturbed. See, look right here. And, you know, stuff. Look there. That's me. See? The toes hit here. The heel dug in here. Foot's right there. I'm not stopping to measure this thing because I'm too freaking spooked. But I'm going to put... My boot's 13 inches long. That's a good 3 inches longer than my boot. So that's a 16, 17 inch track. And like I said, right here's the heel mark. Let me clean this out, maybe you can see it. See it now? I'll try to highlight it. But you can definitely see the toe marks here. He dug his toes in. Right there's his footprint, one of them.
No clear tracks at first. A short distance later, however, he spotted a distinct impression in the mud. Dropping to one knee, he cleared away debris and studied the mark. The print showed defined toe and heel impressions, a deep heel press and claw-like toe breaks where the soil had been pushed aside. When compared to his own boot, the size difference was immediately noticeable. Using his boot as a reference, he estimated the print extended far beyond his size 13 sole, roughly 16 to 17 inches in length. The depth and clarity indicated significant weight behind the step. Scott documented the impression, drawing attention to the toe impressions and the pronounced heel. Standing there among broken branches and the stillness of the forest, he felt unsettled. A freshly snapped balancing stick, a brief sighting of a large dark shape, and a massive footprint in the mud. Taken together, Scott believed something had been moving through the woods that day. Jared spent his birthday by himself in a remote forest in Idaho, where access roads were shut down and he encountered no one else the entire day. That afternoon, he launched his new drone to capture footage of the ridgelines and the stillness of the surrounding woods. The initial clips were calm, wide views of trees and vacant trails, until something unusual appeared later in the footage.
Farragut State Park, and I had all the roads were closed, so I was pretty much the only one back there. I hadn't seen any cars coming through. Beautiful views. I hadn't seen anybody or anything until right here, and I'm gonna zoom in here a little bit and slow it down, and you can just see this figure running through. This is in slow motion, and then a little bit later, you'll see it in between the trees, running through. At full speed, it's very quick, but
near the center of the frame, high along the tree line, a dark figure suddenly emerges and runs through the forest. The figure moves upright and quickly, weaving between trees where no clear trail exists. There were no other people present, no vehicles nearby, and no sounds that could explain the movement. The motion seemed too large and too fast to be a bear traveling on all fours, and while its posture looked human, the size and speed were noticeably different. It disappeared from view and vanished into the woods. After carefully checking the area, Jared found nothing that could explain what the drone had captured. What appeared on the video remains unexplained. On May 18, 2025, a trail camera placed deep within the forest captured something out of the ordinary. The precise location was not disclosed, though reports suggest it was somewhere in the United States. In the footage, a tall, ape-like figure can be seen standing among the trees. The most notable feature is a strong eye shine, a reflective glow not typically associated with humans. Because there are no native apes in the US, the sighting leaves one question. Could this be proof of Bigfoot? A Reddit user went searching for a cave in the forests of Middle Tennessee but encountered something unexpected along the route. In the mud, they spotted a series of unusual impressions. The tracks looked small, almost child-sized, with both toes pressed deeply into the soil, as though whatever made them was gripping the ground while moving forward. Viewers noted how clearly humanoid the prints appeared, unlike tracks typically left by known animals. While the find offered no solid proof of anything, it sparked widespread curiosity. Some even suggested the impressions could belong to a juvenile Bigfoot. While walking through Provo Canyon, a man was enjoying the stillness of the forest when something unexpected happened.
What the?
From the edge of the trees, a large, dark figure suddenly came into view. What draws the most attention is the man's response. He crouched behind a simple split-rail fence for cover. If a towering figure truly was there, would such a flimsy barrier provide any real protection? However, there were no zoos nearby, and no known reports of exotic animals in the area. Whatever the figure might have been, it left witnesses confused and deeply unsettled. A Reddit user was driving far into the mountains near Whitefish, Montana, close to the boundary of his uncle's isolated property, while searching for wildlife such as deer and bears. At one moment, he stopped the vehicle after noticing what initially looked like a moose or an elk, partially hidden by dense brush. When the animal turned and looked directly at him, the atmosphere immediately changed. The stare left him unsettled, and thoughts of local legends, including the Wendigo, came flooding back. As the unease grew, he couldn't shake the feeling that something else might be nearby, just out of sight. In the end, what he encountered remains unexplained. A solo hiker had traveled deep into the wilderness, taking in the stillness until he completely lost track of time. After hours on the trail, he arrived at a thick cluster of pine trees when the silence was suddenly broken. Loud movement came from the other side of the brush. Something large was pushing its way through. Expecting a bear or another sizable animal, he quickly took out his phone to film. What appeared on camera, however, was anything but ordinary and far more unsettling than he had anticipated. A man was traveling through an area long linked to Sasquatch sightings, watching closely for anything out of the ordinary. That's when he noticed it, a tree sharply bent and wedged behind another, forming a strange structure in the middle of the forest. By itself, it might not appear meaningful, but in a region known for Bigfoot reports, the detail felt important. Some claimed only Bigfoot could have bent and positioned the tree that way. Others argued it may have naturally grown into that shape over time, since a sudden bend would likely have caused it to break. So, what's your opinion? Natural growth, or a sign of something else in the woods? While spending time in the Pacific Northwest, a family noticed something unusual near the edge of the woods. In full daylight, motion drew their attention.
Motorcycle. See? Don't move in there. No, there's a motorcycle. See?
I don't see nothing down there. Can't be the motorcycles, honey. There's another sparkle. You see what I'm
What's
saying?
that? What is that?
Tree.
No. You moved it, right? Right there. See it?
Uh-huh.
Look.
There's nobody there. I can't see.
Look. Isn't it those people?
Can't be.
There's nobody
Not up in the
down
trees.
there. There's nobody down there no more. See?
A tall figure, estimated to be nearly 8 feet high, appeared to move along the tree line before blending into the surrounding foliage. They were able to record the moment, but the distance and limited camera quality make it difficult to determine exactly what appears in the footage. What was captured that day remains unclear. In 2014, While hiking near Lake Ontario, a man noticed an unusual sound coming from the nearby brush. Curious about the source, he raised his camera to see what was causing the disturbance. What the footage revealed was unsettling. A crouched humanoid shape partially hidden among the leaves. The figure looked broad, covered in hair, and hunched low, appearing to watch from the shadows. Then, as if aware it was being recorded, the figure suddenly withdrew into the forest, disappearing almost immediately. The man never managed to get a closer view, leaving behind only one question: what did he actually encounter in the woods that day? In May 2019, a fisherman in the United States went out alone to record what he expected to be a calm day beside a small stream. The trip felt quiet and uneventful, smooth water, motionless air, and nothing seemed out of the ordinary while he was filming. However, later during editing, he noticed something he hadn't seen at the time. Just beyond the tree line, a large, dark shape briefly stepped into view before retreating back into the woods. Some viewers brushed it off as lighting or a shifting shadow, while others believed it resembled Bigfoot. What draws the most attention, though, is a faint white shape in the frame that appears face-like, a detail some say rules out a simple shadow. So what did he actually record along that stream bank that day? In June 2001, Jim Mills and his group headed into California's Marble Mountains for a backpacking trip when they came across something unusual. Deep in the forest, they discovered carefully stacked piles of leaves and branches, claw-like marks etched into trees, and flattened areas that looked like makeshift bedding. Later, while scanning the ridgeline with their camera, they noticed something unexpected.
It's kind of looking at us.
I don't see it.
It's moving now.
The tree is? It's to the right of him. It's walking that way.
What tree?
Trees.
Do you see?
See that king's castle?
Yeah. He's that
Look down that
kind
hill.
of little skinny thing.
That little thing.
A tall, dark figure moving upright along the ridge. It appeared slender, yet clearly human-like in posture. The group watched in disbelief, unable to make sense of what they were seeing. Had they just recorded real footage of Bigfoot roaming the Marble Mountains? A routine drive through Provo Canyon suddenly became strange when something unexpected appeared among the trees.
This corner, I think. Like right here. Oh, look, right there, stop, back up.
As the vehicle followed the road near Sundance, Utah, the passengers looked out into the forest on both sides. Without warning, one of them shouted after noticing something just off the roadside. The driver slowed at once and turned around, hoping to catch another glimpse. Excitement and confusion filled the car as they scanned the tree line.
Crap, where'd it go? He was huge. I scared him off.
Then, through the branches, a dark, upright figure came into view, tall, motionless, and partially concealed. Within moments, it disappeared into the woods. They backed the car up for a clearer look, but whatever had been there was already gone, leaving only unanswered questions behind. A Reddit user shared a photo said to have been taken by one of her relatives during a hike in coastal Georgia. They managed to capture one blurry image and a brief, shaky video before the figure disappeared into the trees. The camera was far away and the lighting was poor, leaving details difficult to make out. Online discussion quickly followed. Some insisted it was Bigfoot, while others suggested a bear or a person. The family is still left without answers, only knowing that what they witnessed was unlike anything they had seen before. What started as a calm drive near Provo Airport turned into an unforgettable moment for the Johnson family.
Look how pretty the sunset is. Ow.
As they traveled along the road on a bright afternoon, they admired the sunset, with their daughter casually filming it on her iPad. In the middle of the peaceful scene, however, the camera captured something unexpected.
What was that?
A tall, dark figure moving near a cornfield. It appeared only briefly, running upright before vanishing into the stalks. The figure looked massive, far larger than an average person. Later, when the family reviewed the footage, they were shocked by what they saw. Could this have been a real Bigfoot sighting? While hiking in the Himalayas, two travelers recorded something they never expected to witness.
No masz, a ty tam coś za kamieniem wydawało mi się ruszało. Co tam jest? Widzisz? Zobacz, tam na lewo od kozicy to jest. O kurde. Pokaż to na to. O kurde, masz to? Z tej strony masz to? Gdzie to jest? O, tutaj, o kurde, co to jest? Nie, no niedźwiedź tak nie chodzi. to jest? Do kozicy? Co to jest?
Far ahead on the rocky slopes, a large, dark figure could be seen moving steadily across the terrain. Its slow, deliberate movement appeared distinctly human, yet strangely out of place in the vast landscape. Many believe the footage may point to the legendary Yeti, a creature long described in local folklore as an ape-like being that roams the mountains. The hikers noted there was no visible trail or path leading in that direction, making it unlikely to be another person. Whatever the figure was, it remains unexplained. A viewer who described himself as a Bigfoot researcher shared an unusual clip from one of his field trips.
Where'd it go? There's part of it. Where'd it go?
The footage shows a dark figure moving through the forest, though it doesn't appear as large as most descriptions would suggest. Some have speculated it could be a juvenile, while others believe it simply resembles a person dressed in dark clothing. Despite the uncertainty, many viewers remain doubtful that the video shows Bigfoot at all. A live camera installed to observe a pair of nesting bald eagles ended up recording something completely unexpected. Mounted high in a tall tree, the camera usually streamed quiet scenes of the birds tending to their nest. But far below, movement along the forest floor caught viewers' eyes. A dark, upright figure walking steadily through a clearing. Its pace was slow and deliberate before it vanished into the trees, leaving behind a lingering mystery for those watching. In 1895, an explorer named Orrin Jeff entered Grand Caverns carrying a homemade box camera, hoping to experiment with long-exposure photography in total darkness. During one exposure, he reportedly heard faint movement nearby, set off a flash, and briefly saw 3 figures watching him from the shadows. Startled, he fled the cave and returned several days later with others to retrieve the camera. When the film was eventually developed, it revealed a grainy image showing 3 dark, human-like forms near the cave entrance. The photograph resurfaced decades later and continues to spark debate. Some consider it possible evidence, while others dismiss it as an elaborate hoax. After 2 weeks of nonstop observation in a remote wilderness, the research team finally recorded something unexpected. A strange creature appeared, unlike anything they had encountered before. Its thick fur, unusual proportions, and disturbingly human-like stare sparked intense discussion and speculation. The figure's limbs were long, its body wide and powerful, moving with a slow, deliberate rhythm that felt both intelligent and unnatural. At one moment, it seemed to collect branches and debris, engaged in some unknown activity. Then, just as suddenly as it emerged, the creature vanished back into the wilderness, leaving behind only unanswered questions. A quiet afternoon at Duckett Mill Campground on Lake Lanier took an unexpected turn when something unusual appeared near the water's edge.
Hi.
It was Memorial Day weekend in 2017, and a visitor was calmly taking in the view when movement along the shoreline caught their attention. In full daylight, a tall, dark figure could be seen walking slowly beside the lake. Curious yet cautious, the observer began recording, uncertain of what they were seeing. The figure seemed to be searching for something, its movements human-like but heavier, broader, and strangely unnatural. The witness later said it didn't feel like a person at all. Something about the way it moved just felt wrong. Could this have been a genuine Bigfoot sighting? In 1980, a group of campers in North Carolina's Warren National Forest reported a disturbing encounter. Late one night, they heard unusual sounds outside their tents and noticed a tall, dark, upright figure standing roughly 20 feet away. It appeared close to 7 feet tall, with broad shoulders and a powerful build. One camper was able to take a photo before the figure quickly withdrew into the darkness. Shaken by what they had seen, the group packed up and left the campsite at once. The account briefly appeared in local newspapers before slipping into obscurity, leaving behind only speculation and a single blurry image. A driver traveling along a quiet forest road noticed movement among the trees and quickly raised his camera to record. Within moments, a dark figure appeared, tall and upright, before retreating into the woods and disappearing from view. He scanned the area from inside his vehicle, hoping to catch another glimpse, but it was already gone. After reviewing the footage later, the driver became convinced he had recorded Bigfoot on camera. In 2009, Bigfoot researcher Michael Green installed a thermal camera in a wooded area of North Carolina, a location long linked to reported sightings. To encourage possible activity, he placed peanut butter and squeaky toys on a tree stump. Later, the camera captured something unusual. A dark figure slowly entering the frame, swaying slightly before slipping back into the forest. Some of the toys were later discovered moved farther into the woods. The 3-minute recording, later nicknamed Squeaky, was examined by experts who suggested it could show Bigfoot. Even today, it remains one of the most debated pieces of alleged evidence from those forests. A calm walk through the forest suddenly became unsettling when something massive began moving among the trees. While exploring in full daylight, a woman abruptly stopped. Something ahead didn't feel right. She quietly slipped behind a tree and began recording. In the footage, a large dark figure can be seen moving back and forth through the shadows, its motion slow, heavy, and disturbingly fluid.
Where'd it go?
She continued filming from her hiding place, her heart pounding as the figure traveled along the tree line, never breaking its steady pace. Could this have been Bigfoot silently roaming the woods? Or something else entirely? What do you think she encountered out there, alone in the middle of nowhere? Deep in Oregon's forests, someone captured this photo near their cabin after noticing something unusual among the trees. The figure looked tall, broad, and clearly human-like, instantly bringing Bigfoot to mind. Aware that few would accept the story without proof, they were relieved to have taken the picture. Even so, with the image in hand, one question still remains. Do we believe it now? While hiking on Bald Mountain, a couple noticed a dark figure moving across the steep river bottom below. It traveled upright, completely black, with no visible equipment. For nearly 5 minutes, they watched as it moved swiftly and smoothly across the rugged terrain before vanishing from view. They were able to record the figure on video, though the distance caused the footage to appear blurry. To support their account, they later shared both their precise location and the area where the figure was seen, a spot with no established trail. The encounter left them convinced of one thing: whatever they witnessed, it wasn't human. A calm 4th of July hike suddenly became unsettling when a hiker captured something unusual on camera. Moving carefully through the dense forest, surrounded by quiet and birdsong, a massive dark figure unexpectedly appeared, slipping through a narrow opening between the trees. Holding still, the hiker remained silent and continued recording, careful not to draw attention. The figure paused near a large rock, seeming to lift something small, possibly a young one, before heading deeper into the woods. Zooming in, the hiker recorded what looked like a towering Bigfoot, carrying a smaller figure in its arms, vanishing moments later into the silent wilderness.